All right, we are out of time. Thank you so much for watching.
Stay with us as the news continues.
Now at 6, shot by police. A wanted double murder suspect killed by police gunfire. What they say happened moments before they pulled the trigger.
Plus, all in the family, the eldest of the Trump siblings takes the stand in the civil fraud trial, the questions he faced, and who's next on the witness stand.
But first, the coldest air of the season is coming. Storm Team 4 with just how low temperatures are going to go, and that is where we begin. Good evening, I'm Chuck Scarborough.
And I'm Natalie Pasquarela. Tonight, the temperatures are taking a dive. And get this, in parts of Connecticut, it's not even winter, but snow fell. You see it on the trees and the ground here in Norwalk. Let's get right to Storm Team 4's Janice Huff.
Yeah, a little taste of winter for the tri-state this morning in some areas, and tonight a lot with the temperatures. These are the forecast lows tonight across the Hudson Valley. From Kingston to Woodridge, New Paltz down to Port Jervis, you'll be in the 20s in the morning, and below freezing in Newburgh, Peekskill down to 30 degrees. Now, the freeze warnings that are in effect cover most of New Jersey, where a lot of temperatures will be in the 20s for the first time. Across Long Island and Suffolk County, parts of Westchester County, and coastal sections of Fairfield County, too. You're looking at a low of 32 in Fairfield tonight in Stamford, 33 in Patchogue, 30 in Mount Kisco, then the 20s from New Paltz over to Liberty, Middletown, and Warwick. How about 35 in Bayonne tonight? That's chilly for you. Down to Asbury Park in the mid-30s. And in New York City, the first time the temperatures are down below into the 30s in many, many months since early spring. Right now, the view from Brooklyn Heights, it's a beautiful night. It's going to be a clear night as those few clouds do clear out. 46 degrees right now, and plummeting down into the 30s later on tonight. But a warm-up is expected for this weekend. More on that in the 10-day forecast. Back to you.
All right, Janice, in Brooklyn, the man wanted for brutally murdering his neighbors, a father and stepson, over a noise complaint, is now dead, shot by the police following a standoff. News 4's Miles Miller is live in Bath Beach, Brooklyn, and has the latest for us. Miles?
And Chuck, as you can see behind me, an NYPD tow truck has arrived here on Bay 55th Street. They are towing this car away. That man may have died by police bullets, but the investigation is ongoing tonight. Jason Pass's photo, name, and license plate was in the phone of every Brooklyn cop since Sunday, when police say he decided to solve a dispute among neighbors with the execution-style murders of a father and his stepson. This morning, cops in a patrol car with a license plate reader located his vehicle, and Pass came out with a knife.
They were able to isolate and contain the subject on the corner. For approximately 15 minutes, they had a dialogue, doing everything they could to have the male drop the knife. At the end of this, the male, for some unknown reason, in a full sprint, charged the officers.
Cops shot Pass 4 times. He died at NYU Langone Hospital here in Brooklyn. But the genesis of this tragedy traces back to Sunday at Flatbush Gardens, where a dispute over noise escalated into gun violence, Pass gunning down his 47-year-old neighbor, Vladimir Matutin, and his 27-year-old stepson, Chin Wei Mode. Pass didn't stick around. He'd been on the run for several days. That's when the NYPD turned to technology to find him.
We put an alert on a license plate, and that allowed our ring of cameras and license plate readers around the 5 boroughs to search for this license plate. This morning, we got a hit on that license plate.
No one was at Pass's house. Outside the apartment where the 2 men lived, candles illuminate the spot where Vladimir was killed.
This is shocking. This is shocking. And listen, guys, we just have to live good as neighbors. Because I live in a building like what you live into, and if I have issue, I either write my neighbors a note.
And we know that police say the gun used in this incident was illegally owned by the suspect here. And again, their investigation will continue tonight. We're in the Bath Beach section of Brooklyn. I'm Miles Miller, News 4 New York.
Miles, thank you. In Lower Manhattan, Donald Trump Jr. is questioned on the witness stand in the $250 million civil fraud trial against him, his father, and other Trump Organization executives. News 4's Erica Byfield live in Lower Manhattan tonight with the questions. Erica.
Yeah, Natalie, while he was on the stand today, he answered a number of questions about how his role shifted within the organization when his father became president. Donald Trump Jr. wore a blue suit and pink tie for his day in court. The 21st day of this case was the first time that he showed up in person and cracked a joke.
I should have worn makeup.
He's among the defendants accused of fraud. So is his brother Eric and their dad, Donald Trump Sr. They testify next. New York's Attorney General says members of the Trump organization did business with flawed financial statements, and the lies that those documents contained got the company access to favorable loans and insurance policies. All of the defendants say that's false. Wednesday, Donald Trump Jr. answered questions about his role in the company. He said that he focused on international developments until his dad became president in 2017, when he became a trustee of the entire organization. He said that he didn't work on its financing. A state attorney asked, "Did you work on the statement of financial condition for the Trump organization for June 30th, 2017? He said, "I did not. The accountants did. That's what we pay them for." Throughout the questioning, the defense interjected, saying that the state's attorney's questions were not relevant. The judge regularly overruled those objections. Mid-morning, a state expert who reviewed Trump's financial statements testified. The investment banker told the judge that the documents were misleading and Trump got big loans on risky deals. He followed that up by saying that Trump got lower interest rates than he should have. And because of that, the banks lost out on about $168 million of interest. The cross was intense. Trump's attorneys questioned him, his credibility and his memory. They said that they spent all that time because they wanted to get him to agree that the banks got repaid. Trump did not miss a single payment. As for Donald Trump Jr., his testimony will continue in the morning. There were a few lighter moments today inside the courtroom. At one point, Donald Trump Jr. was speaking rather quickly. The judge asked him to slow down. He started laughing, and he told the judge that he moved to Florida, but he's kept up the pace of a New Yorker. We expect that pace to continue in the morning when the trial resumes at 10 a.m. Once he is done, his brother Eric Trump will take the stand. Erica Byfield, News 4, New York.
Erica, thank you. Developing right now, the future of embattled Long Island Congressman George Santos could be decided in less than 2 hours, not by voters, but by fellow lawmakers who want to expel him from the House. Santos pleaded not guilty last week to federal charges that include stealing the identities of his constituents. That effort to remove him from Congress is being led by members of Santos's own party from New York State. But minutes ago, Santos spoke on the House floor.
Efforts taken by other members in this body to act as judge, jury, and executioner are unconscionable and reckless to our Republican system of government and to the integrity of this body.
Santos again denied any wrongdoing as well. He has pleaded not guilty to all the criminal charges. We'll keep an eye on tonight's vote and have an update for you on News 4 New York at 11.
Now to the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. The State Department says several Americans previously stuck in Gaza are now on Egyptian soil. The evacuees are among hundreds of foreign nationals and injured Palestinian civilians permitted to leave Gaza through the Rafah border crossing. The crossing was opened today after Egypt, Hamas, and Israel agreed that up to 500 people may cross daily. The evacuations come as Israel ramps up its air and ground assault on Hamas, including a second strike on one of the largest refugee camps in Gaza.
We're waiting to find out what caused several cars to ignite in Newark today. You can see smoke in this video Chopper 4 captured when it flew over the scene about 3 hours ago. This lot is on Avenue P, right off the turnpike, and that location is listed as a Cash for Cars facility. The Newark Fire Department says it got that fire under control in about an hour. A major setback for New Jersey's dreams of green energy. Two massive wind power projects off the Garden State's coast are now a bust. The energy developer is backing out. News 4's Adam Harding is in East Rutherford with the governor's strong reaction to that move.
Wind power at a sudden standstill off the coast of New Jersey.
We didn't get any advance notice of it.
New Jersey Senate Minority Leader tonight taking aim at the sudden cancellation of two offshore wind projects by the Danish-based company Ørsted.
We've been arguing this point forever, that this was an unsustainable model and that, there were red flags all over the place. Ørsted kept coming back, asking for more and more funding to help get this project off the ground.
Governor Murphy, this doesn't happen without you.
Governor Murphy, at an unrelated event today at MetLife Stadium, had no interest in talking with us about the company's decision to walk away.
No comment on that at the moment, but I'm not happy about what's happened for sure.
Overnight, the governor releasing this blistering statement. Today's decision by Ørsted to abandon its commitments to New Jersey is outrageous and calls into question the company's credibility and competence. I've directed my administration to take all necessary steps to ensure that Ørsted fully honors its obligations. Ørsted blaming supply delays, interest rates, and scheduling for abruptly pulling the plug on the project.
Tonight's presentation is focused on the construction aspect of this project.
It was just a few weeks ago the company hosted a virtual meeting to discuss construction.
The Ocean Wind 1 project is located off the coast of southern New Jersey between 15 and 27 miles in federal waters.
New Jersey was expecting 2 offshore projects. Now the company is reportedly set to take a costly write-down.
I think this was predictable. And I think if we had been given the chance to hold hearings on this in the Senate, we would have got to the bottom of this months and months and months ago.
And the governor tonight insisting that New Jersey is still all in on offshore wind. He calls it critical to our future. In East Rutherford tonight, I'm Adam Harding, News 4, New York.
Still ahead tonight, the new calls to scrap the plan to house migrants at Floyd Bennett Field. Mayor Eric Adams joining us live. We're going to chat with him, get his response next.
And the potentially dangerous things found in Halloween bags in one New Jersey community. The warning tonight for parents.
New tonight at 6, calls for the city to reconsider its plan to house hundreds of migrant families with children in a massive tent city in Brooklyn. Now, the temporary facility at Floyd Bennett Field can house up to 2,000 people. Today, the Legal Aid Society and the Coalition for the Homeless told News 4 that housing families there is a recipe for disaster. Among their concerns, poor sanitation, fears the children could get lost, and a lack of storage space. The FDNY has also questioned water supply in the case of a fire. Now, the city has maintained the health and safety of asylum seekers with children as its top priority. And right now, to answer those critiques of Floyd Bennett, we bring in Mayor Eric Adams.
Thank you for joining us, Mr. Mayor. And so what is your response now to the Legal Aid Society's request that plans for using the Floyd Bennett Field facility be scrapped?
We're hoping that the Legal Aid Society and many people are really concerned about this issue, really look at this issue for what it is. This is an unsustainable crisis that is man-made, and we need to come up with real solutions. And I'm hoping that they would join me and other mayors that are going to Washington, D.C. tomorrow to meet with our federal lawmakers as well as the White House, because this is not sustainable. It's not sustainable what you're seeing in Chicago, where children are sleeping in precincts. It's not sustainable what we are attempting to do at Floyd Bennett Fields. And we need to all have the same voice that this should not be happening to the city of New York.
And Mayor, speaking of the White House, we know that you've called on the Biden administration to provide some more help to our city. But what do you think the White House should do to keep the migrants from actually crossing the border?
Well, we must secure our borders and ensure that whoever is coming across, they go through the proper vetting and ensure that we do a decompression strategy to go to the over 108,000 city, villages, and towns that we have in our country, so it does not focus on just a few cities in this country, and that's why we're joining our fellow mayors in D.C.
Well, you've said that this crisis, the migrant crisis, could destroy the city. Why aren't you putting even more pressure on the White House to do something about the source?
Well, I'm happy that now many of my fellow mayors are joining me, and you're hearing from the governor of Illinois, the governor of Massachusetts. You're seeing mayors across the city, across the country. They're joining me with this, and this is the type of bipartisanship that we need to really address these issues. And I'm really pleased to see my fellow colleagues, my fellow mayors are saying this is not only a New York City issue, this is an issue that's impacting our large cities in America and could impact our entire country.
Okay, switching topics here, Mr. Mayor, we've all witnessed the shocking rise in anti-Semitism since the start of the Israeli-Hamas war, and you've called on college presidents to do more. What guidance, if any, is your administration giving to teachers in the city's public school system about the conflict and all the hateful rhetoric?
hats off to Chancellor Banks. He has made it clear that we want to use this as a teaching moment to develop the full personhoods of our children so they can have a full understanding of this conflict and really identify the terrorist behavior of Hamas. What we don't want to do is to, number one, give the impression that the terrible actions of Hamas on October 7th is Islam, because it is not. And we want to make sure that our children communicate with each other and call on them not to participate in some of the actions you see on our street where people are spewing out hateful rhetoric. That is not what our city is. Hate has no place in our city. It has no place on our college campuses. And we're hoping that the presidents of these institutions use this as a teaching moment to build tolerance and acceptance as we deal with the conflict that's taking place in Israel and Palestine at this time.
And Mayor Adams, before we let you go, as you mentioned, we know the city is in a heightened state of alert. We've been told there are no specific threats. I know how I feel at times as a parent, but as mayor, what do you think? What keeps you up at night?
Well, a lone wolf, just being real candid and honest, we're watching what lone wolves can do across the entire country. We saw it in Buffalo, the radicalization that's taking place through social media. I'm calling on parents to really examine what their children are looking at, really monitor the behavior, have communications with them. That is a concern that I have. The police department did an amazing job, 120 different protests and rallies, and you have not witnessed any real violence in the city because of that, and we need to do that. And if I could just let New Yorkers know that this is a cold blue. It is going to be extremely cold. Winter's here sooner than we thought, so I want to make sure New Yorkers are safe, but we are designating a cold blue at this time.
Well, important information, Mayor. How did you know that we have weather next? That was our next thing, was to toss to Janice Huff.
Yeah, you pretty much introduced her. She's next with the forecast. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, we just heard from Mayor Adams talking about a cold blue and how, freeze warnings tonight.
Yeah, and those are for the outlying areas outside of New York City. We've got those warnings. The temperatures drop into the 20s. So, yeah, this is the time of the year to start making sure you're out, so your plants are prepared, that you're prepared for the cold. Time to dig out some of those winter coats and jackets. Here's a look at the average first freeze. These are the dates that range anywhere from mid-November, which is for Central Park, to early October in Poughkeepsie. You've already had some temperatures down near freezing. The freeze warning is in effect for some of the other counties tonight across New Jersey and coastal areas. But look at the lows tonight. 20s below freezing, White Plains, Bridgeport, even parts of the Jersey Shore, too, and Long Island. It'll be sunny and cool tomorrow after that cold start to the day. Temperatures close to where they were today, upper 40s to the low 50s. What a beautiful view right now of lower Manhattan from the Brooklyn Heights side. We expect you to pull out your warm coats, bring those out, and put the umbrellas back in the closet. You won't need those for several days for a change. Oh, and don't forget your sunglasses too. This bright sun we're expecting over the next few days, that'll help protect your eyes quite a bit. 46 degrees right now in the city. Winds are light. The dew point's down to 23, so the spread is large there. The air is very dry, and those temperatures are just going to continually fall through the hours. By 1 a.m., we're in the 30s in the city, waking up to 36 degrees in Midtown in the morning. Sunshine throughout the day. Temperatures rising into the 40s to near 50 degrees. So it's slightly below average again tomorrow. On Friday, we're back up to near average. But look, we topped 60 over the weekend, and there's no rain for a change. It's been a couple of months since we've not seen a weekend without rain. We'll welcome that for sure. Rain's coming back next week. But anywhere from Portland to Boston, the city, down to Philadelphia and D.C., the weather will be beautiful. You go a little bit farther north near the Canadian border, you might get some rain this weekend, but not here. 36 is our low tonight under mostly clear skies with temperatures about 10 degrees colder north and west in the outlying areas. 49 tomorrow. You can get rid of the hats and scarves and gloves after you wear them in the morning because you probably need those. But then by Friday afternoon up to 57 degrees. So it's a nice warm up that's coming. Here's our exclusive 10-day forecast. Sunshine and 60-degree temperatures on Saturday. Sunday, as we fall back an hour and the marathon race is happening, it's going to be beautiful weather for that. We don't see rain until Tuesday, Election Day, and we'll get a couple of days of that, but it's all in the middle of the week. Back to you.
All right, Janice, thank you very much. New at 6, a warning for parents in one New Jersey town. Police in Sayreville are investigating a report that prescription medication was distributed with Halloween candy. A prescription clonazepam pill was found in a bag mixed with pieces of mixed candy. The bag is a clear Ziploc-style bag with candy corn imprinted on it. The child or the trick-or-treated are in the Park Village. Police are asking parents to carefully check all the candy your children receive while trick-or-treating. If you locate a similar bag, you're asked to call the police.
Coming up on News 4 at 7, a high-voltage rescue. Look at that. 4 kittens surrounded by danger in Stamford tonight. Find out how they were saved. That's at 7.
The Spectrum Sports Desk is brought to you by Spectrum One Stream. Get internet, advanced Wi-Fi, and unlimited mobile, and a free Xumo Stream box when you add Spectrum TV. Visit Spectrum.com for details.
So, Bruce, will the Giants right the ship this weekend?
I don't know if they will, but they get their quarterback back, so there's hope. Daniel Jones is back. Barring a setback, he'll be under center when the Giants visit the Raiders on Sunday. After missing 3 games with a neck injury, Jones was all smiles after finally being cleared for contact. He looked good in practice today, taking all the first-team snaps with no limitations. Now he'll try to jumpstart an offense that has scored the fewest points in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm excited. Excited to be back in the swing of things and going through the week preparing to play. So, yeah, I'm excited to be back.
How do you feel physically?
I feel good. I feel good. Feel, recovered and I've had a few weeks here, not playing. So use that to stay in shape and, yeah, but excited to be back.
Last night, the Raiders cleaned house, firing their head coach and general manager. Now a former Giant will be manning the sidelines. Antonio Pierce was named interim head coach. Pierce was a Giants linebacker for 5 seasons. He was defensive captain and helped Big Blue knock off the undefeated Patriots in Super Bowl 42. Now he faces his old team in his first game as an NFL head coach.
How about that? Couldn't write it up. But it's not Antonio Pierce versus the New York Giants. Las Vegas Raiders versus the Giants come into our house. Doesn't matter what or who Antonio Pierce played for. It's about the Las Vegas Raiders. Those players understand that. It's about them. It ain't about me.
Good luck, AP, except against our teams. The 4-3 Jets host the Chargers on Monday night. Quarterback Zach Wilson was asked if he feels pressure to match points with gunslinger Justin Herbert and company.
I don't know. I don't look at it that way. I got so much trust in my defense, man. Those guys are, we've seen what they've done with a lot of good offenses, explosive offense. So I'm going to trust those guys no matter what. Now, would I like to also still put up a lot of points and those guys not put up a lot of points? Let's do it that way. So that's the goal.
We have 2 outdoor hockey games coming to MetLife Stadium. The Devils host the Flyers on Saturday, February 17th. The Rangers take on the Islanders the very next day. Chuck and Natalie, it should be fun. Let's hope it's cold but clear.
Yeah. No rain. That'd be good. All right, Lego, we have to show you this, turning an iconic New York City building into its largest modular set ever. It's a replica of the Natural History Museum. It has the dual atriums, a removable roof, and a middle floor, too. In total, the set has 4,000 pieces. It officially goes on sale December 1st.
And coming up next on NBC Nightly News, a former pilot charged with pulling a gun in the cockpit, why authorities say he threatened the plane's captain in the air, and the billion-dollar real estate verdict that could change the way you sell a house. NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt is straight.
Tonight, the diplomatic breakthrough. American citizens among the first civilians allowed to evacuate Gaza into Egypt since the war began, as a refugee camp is hit with another deadly Israeli airstrike.